Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the News Today edition of 31st of March. My name is Anuj and I will be taking today's session. In today's session, we will be covering 4 main news and 9 quick update and 1 personality in news. In the first main news, we will be covering about insolvency and bankruptcy code, as Lok Sabha have passed the insolvency and bankruptcy code of Amendment Bill 2025. Then we will be covering about Naxalism, as India is almost free from left-wing extremism. It has been said by Home Minister of India. Then in the third main news, we will be covering about solid waste management, as Solid Waste Management Rule 2026 will come into effect from tomorrow. Then we will be covering about emergence of artificial intelligence, as standing committee have reported on the impact of the emergence of artificial intelligence. Then we will be covering 9 quick update in very brief, and in between we will be covering one personality in news, and today we will be covering about Shyamji Krishna Varma. So this is the brief about today's session. Let us start with the first main news. The first main news is regarding the insolvency and the bankruptcy code. And the context here is that the Lok Sabha have passed Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill 2025. In this news, we will be learning about insolvency and the bankruptcy code, why there was a need for the amendment, and what are the key provision in the amendment. It is related to paper 3, where syllabus talks about changes in industrial policy and their effect on industrial growth. With this information, let us start the discussion for the first news. First of all, the background. What is the background? That this bill has been introduced to amend the Insolvency and the Bankruptcy Code of 2016. Let us go back and understand why this Insolvency and the Bankruptcy Code was required. So what was happening was that bank was giving loan to the companies, and some companies were not able to perform well, and they were not able to give back the money that was given by the bank. That was converted into NPAs. What does NPA stand for? Non-performing assets. Okay. So, to resolve that issue, this code was brought in. And how does this code work? Suppose there is a bank or financial intermediaries or other shareholders. They can go to NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, in the case of companies, and they can go to DRT, Debt Recovery Tribunal, in the case of individual or a partnership. And if they accept the application, so this procedure of insolvency and bankruptcy would start. So what they will do, they will form a committee of creditors. Okay. So what was happening is, suppose this is bank and this is the company. Suppose company A, this has given, or there are NPAs to this company, and this company has to pay back to the bank. So we can sell off the company, but that will be loss to the economy as well as to the bank, because when company will not be performing well, it will be selling in a very low price. So to improve its condition, there was insolvency professionals. They were appointed by IBBI, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Okay, these facts are very important for your prelims examination. Okay, please understand this. Some facts are very important for your prelims examination. Okay, so जस्सी को चाहे घर की याद आई हो या नहीं आई हो, you should be remembering some fact to clear prelims examination. Okay, so they try to enhance the value of this company. Then they will invite the resolution and they will approve one resolution plan from the resolution plan they have, which we have been sent by various members. So that they will approve the resolution plan, they will they will monitor that approval plan, resolution plan, and they will close it. Okay, so if the company get resolution or that revived, they can pay back to the bank. Or in the case there are no chances of revival of the company, then they will sell off and liquidate it. So this is all about the Insolvency and the Bankruptcy Code of 2016. Now let us understand what was the need for the amendment, bill amendment. First of all, the rescue time. So the whole process, which we have talked in the last slide, should have been completed in 180 days and maximum by 330 days. But it was noticed by the standing committee that around 650 days was taken to complete this process. So the time taken to rescue that was around double that was mandated in the IBC code of 2016. Then recovery rate was also very low. It was around 31% only. Then asset values, there was delay erode the value of the stressed asset. As there was delay in the resolution, so value of stressed assets was decreasing. And it was also noticed that haircut by the banks or the creditors were very high. Okay, what is the meaning of haircut here in this process? Okay, so the amount of credit that have been foregone by the financial intermediaries is known as haircut in such situation. Okay, now let us understand about the key highlights of the bill. So the first highlight is that the new creditor initiated insolvency resolution process. In this will replace the largely underutilized fast track process with an out of court initiated model. So the company which are genuinely not able to revive, they can solve the matter out of court. And this will be known as new creditor initiated insolvency resolution process. Then second, there will be group insolvency framework. So there are group of companies. Suppose I am a parent company and I have many subsidiaries. Okay, suppose I am a company, parent company is A. Then there are other companies which are subsidiary of the parent company. In that, this bill have introduced a voluntary group insolvency framework. So these companies, if they want to come together and try to apply for insolvency, they can come together in the new, according to the new bill. Then there have been talk about the cross-border insolvency framework in this bill. In the IBC 2016, there was also talked about cross-border, but that was very limited. But here, it proposes a basic structure for cross-border insolvency. What is the meaning of this cross-border insolvency? Suppose there is a company in India and company owners have assets outside India. So to resolve that issue, they can sell off the asset outside the India, that is cross-border insolvency framework. Then clean slate principle reinforcement. What is the meaning of this? It means that once a resolution plan is approved, the claim against the corporate debtor which was not mentioned in the plan cannot be claimed now. Okay, that is the meaning of clean state principle. And lastly, NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, will admit corporate insolvency resolution process within 14 days. Lastly, there was around 30 days. Now it has been reduced to 14 days. Okay, so these are the key highlights of the bill. With this, we have completed the first news. Now let us discuss the prelims PYQ, which are not directly related to IBC, but they are related to resolution of the stress assets of the companies. So you can analyze how UPSC is asking question regarding to the stress assets of the companies. And the first question is from the prelims of 2019, and it is a straightforward question. So question is, what was the purpose of intercreditor agreement signed by Indian banks and financial institutions recently? So these are the four options, and the answer for this is, it aims at a faster resolution of stress assets of 50 crore or more which are under consortium lending. This was related to stress asset and solving the NPAs. One more PYQ of the year 2017 prelims. Question is, which of the following statement best describe the term scheme for sustainable structuring of stress asset recently seen in the news? So for this, answer will be that it is a scheme of RBI for reworking for the financial structure of big corporate entities for facing genuine difficulties. Okay, so it was also a direct question. In such type of question, either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. Okay, so with this, we have completed the first news for today. Let us discuss the second news. Second news is regarding the Naxalism, and our Home Minister has said that India is almost free from left-wing extremism. In this news, we will be covering that how India is able to achieve this status and what is the meaning of left-wing extremism. It is related to paper 3, where syllabus talks about linkage between development and spread of extremism. Let us start this news. First of all, the development, as we have already discussed in the Lok Sabha, Home Minister of India have said that the bearing one prominent leader, the entire leadership of Maoism or Maoist have been wiped out in the past 2 years. So the government has a target to remove Naxalism from India by 31st March of 2026. So in this context, Honorable Home Minister have said that we have almost cleared the prominent leadership of Maoist except one. And with him as well, there have been talk about surrender. So before moving further, let us understand about the background of Naxalism. Naxalism in India have started from West Bengal, from an area Naxalbari. That's why the name Naxalism. And what is the ideological base? So you might be knowing about a German philosopher, Karl Marx. Okay. In his theory, he have divided the society into haves and have not. So he has said that have will be capitalist and have not will be marginalized. And these marginalized people will have armed rebellion against the have to have a say in the state. This was said by the Karl Marx. Then come the Chinese Revolution, from where our Naxalism is inspired. Okay, this is the ideology behind. In 1949, there was Chinese Revolution, and it was led by Mao. So according to him, it can be achieved by guerrilla warfare and by the farmers. So he has given this tactic to the theory of the Marx. So from this guerrilla warfare and rural-led revolution, our Naxalism is inspired. Now let us understand one thing. If a revolution have to fulfill its goal, there is a requirement of three things. One, ideological base, that is required. Then cadre support, and then prominent leaders is required. So we will be seeing how government has worked against all these three pillars, that is ideological base, cadre support, and the prominent leader. As you might have seen, the development, they have removed the entire leadership except one. Then we will be also discussing the ideological base. They have worked against the ideological base, and internationally as well, no country which is based on this ideology have not fulfilled its dream. So that is also one reason. We will be also discussing about removal of cadre support. So the central government aimed to make all affected district Naxal free by March 31st of 2026, that we have discussed. Now let us move further and understand about the Naxalism. We have discussed almost all the things regarding the Naxalism, but let us read them again. It originated from Naxalbari movement of 1967 in West Bengal. The movement aimed to undermine the Indian state through armed rebellion and parallel governance structure. Then it spread primarily across the red corridor affecting state like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, Maharashtra, Kerala, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, and parts of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. And what was the key reason for the growth of Naxalism? You might have heard about this term, Jal, Jungle, and Jameen. That is one of the reason for growing of Naxalism. So if the resources such as Jal, Jungle, and Jameen will taken away from the tribal people, there was this growth of the Naxalism. So that is given here. There are socio-economic factors such as social alienation, suboptimal access to education, and there were governance issues as well, such as ineffective implementation of Forest Right Act as well as the PESA Act of 1996. So these are the reasons. Now let us move further and understand about the multi-pronged approach which have helped India to tackle the left-wing extremism. So we have discussed that government have worked upon providing a anti-ideology for Naxalism. They have also removed the prominent leadership and also removed the cadre support by bringing governance to the grassroots level and plugging those gaps which was there between the government and the citizens. Let us discuss the multi-pronged approach. First of all, the Samadhan strategy. This is a very important strategy which was taken by the government, and it stand for S stand for smart leadership, A stand for aggressive strategy, M stand for motivation and training, A stand for actionable intelligence, and D stand for dashboard based key performance indicators, and KRA that stand for key result areas. Then H stand for harnessing technology, A stand for action plan for each theater, and N stand for no access to finance. This is the full form of Samadhan. And it encompasses the entire strategy for the security operation. You might be aware about CRPF. Okay, and this is also in the news because there is controversy regarding the CAPF bill as well. Then government have also taken the development intervention such as special central assistance for the left wing extremism affected district, and also they have also fill in the critical gap in public infrastructure and services. And there was also special program such as aspirational district program. Okay, then they have introduced or improved the surrender and rehabilitation policy. In this, rehabilitator cadre received the financial assistance as well as monthly stipend for the vocational training so that they can come back to the society. Then they have strengthened the security infrastructure and technology. They have started using the cutting edge technology such as location tracking as well as usage of satellite imagery. Then they have financial improved on the financial crackdown. So they have targeted the funding sources through the Prevention of Money Laundering Act and enforcement and fund seizure. So this was the multi-pronged approach which have helped India to tackle left-wing extremism. Now let us discuss PYQ related to this news. So there are many PYQ related to this news in the mains examination. Here let us discuss the mains examination question of 2025, that is the last year. The question is, the government of India recently stated that left-wing extremism will be eliminated by 2026. Here it is March 31st. What do you understand by left-wing extremism and how are the people affected by it? Okay, that is the first part of the question. Then, what measures have been taken by the government to eliminate the LWE? So that we have discussed in this news. Okay, now let us move to the next news for today. The next news is about the solid waste management rules 2026. They will come into effect from tomorrow. It is related to paper 3 where syllabus talks about sustainable development. Let us discuss this news. So what is the development? The development is that the rules were earlier notified by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and these rules are notified under Environment Protection Act of 1986. Please be very clear about the rules which are there under Environmental Protection Act of 1986. It might be related to plastic. It might be related to the e-waste. So please look into the PYQs and you will find the questions related to the Environmental Protection Act of 1986. And along with that, please also prepare the various acts related to environment. It might be Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. It might be Water Act of 1974, or Air Act of 1981, or Biological Diversity Act of 2002. You should be very clear about all the act. Okay, we will be also solving the PYQs from the prelims after discussing this news. So these rules will supersede the rules of 2016. Okay, let us move forward and understand about the solid waste generation in India. So presently, as per the Central Pollution Control Board, which is a statutory body under Water Act of 1974. So according to Central Pollution Control Board, it has reported that in the year 2023-24, total solid waste generated in India was about 1.85 lakh tons per day. You can see the gravity of the situation. So the solid waste generated in India per day is around 1.85 lakhs tons. And in that, only 61% get processed or treated, and remaining 39% goes into landfills that harm our environment. Okay, then what are the challenges? First of all, there is absence of proper collection and segregation at source. Think for once, how many of you segregate the solid waste at your houses? That is one of the issue. Then there is limited availability of land. Okay, you might have seen many mountains of solid waste. Okay, it might be in Ghaziabad, it might be in Gazipur or Wazirabad. Those mountains are due to lack of land. Then there are financial constraints with the local bodies, as local bodies are involved in the segregation or collection of the solid waste. Okay, now let us discuss what are the key provision of the new rules of 2026. So they have talked about the mandatory 4-stream segregation. First, wet waste. Think of banana peel. That is a waste that include kitchen or organic matter. Then dry waste. Think of plastic bottle. That is dry waste. It include plastic, paper and metal. Then sanitary waste. Think about diapers. These are sanitary waste, and it include diapers and tampons. Then special care waste. Think about medicines, and special care waste include plant medicine and bulb. Okay. So according to the new rules from which will be effective from tomorrow, there is mandatory 4-stream segregation at the source. Then about bulk waste generator accountability. So who are these bulk waste generator? Suppose there is a society who produce waste in bulk, or there can be a school. So they have responsibility to dispose that waste on site. Now, if they are not able to biodecompose or process that waste on site, they have to require and obtain extended bulk waste generator responsibility, where this on-site processing is not feasible. Okay, so they have to look that if that waste is processed correctly, and they have to take the financial responsibility as well. Then about the polluter pay principle for non-compliance. What is this polluter pay principle? As the name suggests, okay, if I am polluting the environment, I should be paying for the renovation of the environment. That is the pollution pays principle. Then it talk about the duties of local bodies. It talk about collection, segregation and transportation of solid waste in coordination with material recovery facilities. These facilities are for sorting of solid waste. Then they talk about the industrial use of refuse derived fuel. What is this refuse derived fuel? Okay, so these are the fuel which are formed by dehydrating the various solid waste, and they have a high calorific value. Please be very clear, they have a high calorific value. Okay, and lastly, they talked about the special provision for hilly areas and island. You might be seeing that various tourists are polluting these hilly areas and islands. That's why there is special provision for these hilly areas and island. Okay, with this we have completed this news. Now let us discuss the PYQ related to this news. First of all, the PYQ is from the year 2019. Okay, it is current affairs inspired static question. So the question is that in India, extended producer responsibility was introduced as an important feature in which of the following? So the answer for this is the e-waste management and handling rules of 2011. Now let us discuss one more PYQ from the year 2018, and the question is about that how the National Green Tribunal is different from the Central Pollution Control Board. It is a 2018 question. Okay, you might be reading about National Green Tribunals in polity, or you might be reading it in environment static part. Okay, so the NGT has been established by an act, NGT Act of 2010, whereas CPCB has been created by an executive order of the government. But when we were discussing about CPCB, we have discussed that it is a statutory body under Water Act of 1974. That means the first statement is not correct. Then the second statement, that the NGT provides environmental justice and help reduce the burden of litigation in the higher courts, whereas the CPCB promotes cleanliness of streams and well and aim to improve the quality of air in the country. So these are the aims of these bodies, and this is a correct statement. So the answer for this question is B, 2 only. With this, we have completed this news. Now let us move to the next news. Next news is about the emergence of artificial intelligence, and Standing Committee of the MIT have reported on the impact of emergence of artificial intelligence. It is related to GS paper 3, which talks about awareness in the field of IT, space, computer, robotics and nanotechnology. Let us discuss this news. So first of all, let us talk about India's position in the AI sector. This is given in the report by citing various indexes. First of all, it is given that India is 10th in the Tortoise Global AI Index and 4th place in the Stanford AI Index. And according to the Stanford AI Index, India ranked first globally in the AI skill penetration. Okay, that are the findings, or that are the reported data regarding the AI sector in India in this report. Then it talk about the workforce evolution. So the report is saying that AI is projected to add around 47 lakhs tech job by 2027. Okay, if you might be seeing the growth of AI and you yourself might be using AI for your preparation, and you might be seeing that it will be impacted the major workforce of India, and there will be requirement of reskilling to improve their skill by using the AI and to increase the efficiency. Okay, then it talk about the digital infrastructure. It is saying that India have the highest internet users globally, that is around 900 plus millions, 900 million. And the penetration of e-commerce is at the second place. Then India holds the first rank in AI scientific publication, research paper and other things. And it is a ICT service export. Okay, so these are the findings which have been given in the report citing various indexes. This type of data won't be asked in the prelims examination directly, but this type of data can be used in the introduction in the mains answer. But now, for now, we are solving various PYQs mostly from the prelims examination, as the prelims examination is approaching. Okay, but here this data is important from the mains perspective, where you can use this data to write an answer. Now let us discuss the challenges in the AI adoption in India, which have been highlighted by the report. First of all, the report talks about barrier to scale the AI in India, and it talks about three fundamental bottlenecks. In that, first is about the computing infrastructure. So it is have highlighted that in India there is lack of high performance computing infrastructure. Then it talk about the limited access to the clean and the quality data set. For AI to work efficiently, it required data set, and the report is saying that there is limited access to the clean and the quality data set. Although there is access to the data set, but access to clean and the quality data set is lacking. Then there is shortage of grassroots level technical skill. That means the technical skills which are required at the ground level, those are lacking. Okay. Then it talk about sector specific adoption challenge, and it has given the example of agriculture. First of all, the requirement of the capital for adoption of the AI in the agriculture is very high. That's why farmer won't adopt it. As well as farmer will not rely on the information which will be given by the AI. These are the challenges which have been highlighted. Then there are issue of cyber security. There is weaponization of AI to generate deep fakes. Okay, you might have heard the case of Rasmika Mandana before 2 to 3 years, how her image were marginalized. Then there is a child sexual exploitative and abusive material which have been generated by using AI, and as well as there are financial fraud as well. You might have heard about the cases of digital arrest. Okay, then it have also talked about risk in defense. Okay, you might have heard that USA attacked on Iran using the information which was given by the AI platform cloud. Okay, so these are the challenges which have been highlighted in the report. Now let us discuss what are the recommendation given in the report. First of all, it talk about enacting comprehensive AI legislation and IT rules. Okay, and it talked about that there should be enhancement of the performance of AI, and as well as there should be the provision to safeguard the citizen. Okay, so there should be a balance. Then it talk about expediting the India AI mission, as most of the Indians are dependent on the foreign companies, and it will create the digital monopoly in the Indian market. So for that, to break that monopoly of few entities, there is required for a fostering domestic innovation. Then there has to be strengthening the cyber crime mitigation. So there should be an automated hash matching approach to proactively detect and prevent the uploading of harmful content. So what is this hash matching approach? So in this approach, there will be a digital fingerprints of an image. And if those digital fingerprint match with the already data which is there with the government, that won't be uploaded on the internet. Okay, then there should be curbs on the financial fraud, as there can be advances in AI to flag the mule account. These are the recommendation. Now let us solve the PYQ from the prelims examination related to AI. First of all, question is from the year 2020. The question is, with the present state of development, artificial intelligence can effectively do which of the following? So here the year is 2020, not 2025 or 26. So bring down electricity consumption in industrial unit. Okay, it can increase the efficiency. Okay, second, create meaningful short stories and song. Everyone is creating stories from AI as well as generating song. But at that time, this word with the present state of development is very important. So at that time, AI was not able to create songs or generate these meaningful short stories. That's why second option was incorrect. Then it can diagnose the disease. Okay, AI can be used to diagnose the diseases. Then it can convert text to speech. That is also true. Okay. And fifth, wireless transmission of electrical energy. Can you think that AI can be used to transfer electricity from one place to another? Oh, that is not true. And if you eliminate the fifth option, then also you will come to the correct answer. So fourth option contain fifth option, then this will be also eliminated. Answer will be 2, 1, 3 and 4 only. Okay, with this we have completed the main news for today. Now let us discuss let us discuss one more PYQ from the year 2025. It is indirectly related to artificial intelligence. The question is, consider the following statement regarding AI Action Summit held in Grand Palais, Paris in February of 2025. So this is the prelims question from the last year. Okay, so the first statement, it was co-chaired with India. Okay, and the event built on the advances made on the Bletchley Park Summit held in 2023 and Seoul Summit which held in 2024. Okay, it is a correct statement. Then second, along with other countries, US and UK also signed the Declaration on Inclusive and Sustainable AI. Okay, so this was the highlight of that summit, that US and UK did not sign a Declaration on Inclusive and Sustainable AI. Okay, so the answer for this was A1 only. Okay, so with this we have completed the main news for today. Now let us discuss personality in news for today. So the personality in news for today is Shyamji Krishna Varma. And the context is that the Honorable Prime Minister of India has paid tribute to Shyamji Krishna Varma on his death anniversary. In this news, we will be covering about the life of Shyamji Krishna Varma. Okay, so he was born in Mandvi of Gujarat, and he was a great revolutionary journalist and philanthropist. Let us understand about his key contribution. Although these are all parts of your static syllabus, but this will help in revising the key contribution of Shyamji Krishna Varma. First of all, he established the Indian Home Rule Society in 1905, and the aim of this society was to encourage young Indians to actively participate in revolutionary activities. Okay, and he also founded India House, and that house served as a hostel and a hub for an Indian student in London and also for the revolutionaries. Okay, and he served as the first president of Bombay Arya Samaj. Arya Samaj was started by Swami Dayanand Saraswati in the year 1875 in Bombay. Okay, and his key literary work include the Indian Sociologist. Okay, and it is a journal which intend to promote the nationalist ideas in the Indians. These are his key contribution. Okay, now let us move to the quick update for today. Today we have 9 quick update. Let us start with the first quick update. In the first quick update, it is about the open acreage licensing policy, and the context here is that the government has launched the 11th exploration licensing round, offering 21 blocks under this policy. In this, we will be learning about this open acreage licensing policy. So basically, it was introduced in the year 2016 as a part of hydrogen exploration and licensing policy. So in this, it allow investor to explore the hydrocarbons, and they can select the block by themselves, even though the government have not formally bid or formally announced bid for those blocks. That is the meaning of this policy. And what are its benefit? Its benefit include it is based on the revenue sharing model. So previously there was profiting sharing model that was very complex. After this OALP under HELP, it was revenue sharing model, and there was also reduction in the royalty rates, as well as there was no oil cess. That will improve the investor confidence, as well as there was single license for all the hydrocarbon that might be conventional or unconventional, as well as there was marketing and pricing freedom, obviously with the ceiling limit, but there was marketing and pricing freedom for the investors. With this, we have completed the first quick update. Now let us move to the next quick update. The next quick update is about the energy statistics India 2016. So here the context is also important for this quick update. The context is that the National Statistics Office, which is under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, have released the Energy Statistic India 2026. So this can be asked in the prelims examination, that which institute released the Energy Statistics India. Okay, so what are the key highlights of these statistics? First of all, the total primary energy supply have grew by 2.9% in the year 2024-25, which have reached to 9.3 lakhs kiloton of oil equivalent. What is this meaning of tons of oil equivalent? So that is the energy produced by 1 ton of oil, crude oil. Okay, then it talk about renewable energy. So the generation stand at the 47 lakh megawatt as of 31st March of 2026-25, sorry. And top 3 include having the renewable energy potential include Rajasthan, Maharashtra and Gujarat. And the renewable energy potential are mostly for the 6 state, including these Rajasthan, Maharashtra and Gujarat. And largest component for these energy, renewable energy potential is solar energy, which is followed by wind and large hydro project. But it has said that coal still remain the dominant source. Okay, these are the key highlights. Now let us move to the next quick update. The next quick update is about a scheme, that is electronic component manufacturing scheme. And the context is that the government has clear 29 investment proposal worth rupees 7,000, around 7,000 crore under this scheme. So in this we will be learning about this scheme. First of all, it was launched in the year 2025. That means last year, and it has a time period of 6 years. And it was launched by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Okay, and its objective is to develop a robust component manufacturing ecosystem by attracting investment. That investment can be from the domestic market or from the global market across the value chain by integrating the domestic electronic industry with the global value chain. So basically, the electronic global value chain is dominated by the few players such as China or South Korea. So under this scheme, the government is aiming to increase the share of India in the global value chain of electronics. Okay, and its targeted segments are high value components such as camera, display module and lithium ion batteries. Okay, so this was about this scheme. Now let us move to the next quick update. The next quick update is about radiative forcing based accounting. Okay, here the context is not that important, but we will be understanding what is this radiative forcing based accounting. And the context here is that a study has proposed a new framework called this radiative forcing based accounting framework that offer an alternative approach to equivalence metric in carbon offset crediting. So you might have heard about global warming potential. In this, various greenhouse gases are compared to the carbon dioxide for 100 years. So to give an alternative to that is proposed, this is proposed, sorry, that is radiative forcing framework. And what it is a net difference between solar energy absorbed by the earth and energy radiated back to the space. Okay, you might have learned heat budget in NCERT. If in that heat budget, if earth receive 100% or sorry 100 unit of energy from sun, it will reflect back or radiate back and emit back around 100 unit after some time. That is the heat budget. But that is not happening. Why that is not happening? Because of greenhouse gases. What does greenhouse gases do? They act transparent to the incoming solar radiation, but they does not allow the outgoing radiation which are emitted from the earth to pass through them. That lead to gaining of heat on the in the atmosphere. That is greenhouse. So in this, unlike traditional method that used a fixed 100-year multiplier that we have discussed about global warming potential, this calculate the climate impact of a greenhouse gas based on their actual time resolved radiative forcing relative to a chosen policy horizon. Okay, so this is using this net effect of this greenhouse gases. Okay, and what are its benefit? It have higher accuracy for methane. Okay, you might have seen that methane time frame is very low when compared to the carbon life cycle. Okay, that's why here it have higher accuracy for the methane. Okay, so this is about radiative forcing framework. So the next quick update is about ultra-luminous X-ray sources. And the context here is that the scientists from the Raman Research Institution have analyzed rare repeating burst of energy from a distant ultra-luminous X-ray. What is this ultra-luminous X-ray? So basically it is a system in which a compact object pull in the matter from a companion star. And what are these compact objects? These can be black hole or neutron star. They are very dense. So black hole is the densest and neutron star is the second densest. Even one spoon of these materials can be billions of tons. Okay, and this process, which is known as accretion, releases enormous amount of energy. Okay, and in some cases these sources exceed the Eddington limit. That means that the theoretical maximum brightness an object can achieve by more than 100 times. Okay, now let us move to the next quick update. The next quick update is about the Indian accounting standards. So the insurance regulatory body, that is Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, have introduced INDS, which stands for Indian Accounting Standard based financial reporting framework for insurance sector for better compatibility with the global standards. And what is this INDAS framework? So these are set of financial reporting standard implemented in India to harmonize local accounting practice with the international financial reporting standard, so that there can be a compatibility as well as analysis of Indian standard of accounting with the global standards of accounting. Then its primary goal is to enhance the global accessibility, transparency and reliability of financial statement produced by Indian companies. Okay, and it is implemented by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. One more important thing, these standards will be applied on all type of insurance such as life or car or medical insurance. Okay, with this let us move to the next quick update. The next quick update is about biobitumen. And the context here is that Council of Scientific and Industrial Research has transferred an indigenous biobituminous technology for large-scale industrial adoption. And this technology is jointly developed by CSIR, Central Road Research Institution, and the CSIR, Indian Institution of Petroleum. Before understanding about biobitumen, let us understand about bitumen. So it is a highly viscous, black, sticky and waterproof hydrocarbon material obtained from crude oil refining. Okay, you might have gone to the areas where roads are constructed. You might have seen a black-like thing which is spread on the newly constructed road, and the usage of that is to increase the adhering capacity as well as providing the waterproofing abilities. That is bitumen. And what is biobitumen? Basically, it utilizes agricultural biomass and crop residue as a feedback to produce a renewable and environmentally friendly alternative to traditional petroleum-based bitumen. This is about biobitumen. If you know about bitumen and if you made that environmentally friendly by using the feedstock from the crop residue, that will convert into biobitumen. Okay, they are understanding about biobitumen. Now let us move to the next quick update. The next quick update give report about fertilizer status. In this, we will be learning about the status of fertilizer sector in India. So there are important facts about the fertilizer sector in India. First of all, India is reliant on import of about 13 to 20% of its urea and 60% of diammonium phosphate. Okay, you might be knowing that India does not have potash in India. Then the Gulf region remain a key source for fertilizer import, which account for 20 to 30% of urea. And you might be knowing that there are various issues which are going on in the Gulf region, and that will impact our fertilizer sector. And also supplies nearly 50% of India's LNG import, okay, which is a key feedstock for urea production. What we are producing, suppose we are producing urea in India, for that feedstock is LNG. That is also impacted due to issues in the Gulf region. Then India is the second largest consumer and the third largest producer of fertilizers globally. This is an important fact, your prelims examination, where UPSC can give that India is the largest consumer of fertilizers. Okay. Then the domestic production. So there is nearly 73% of countries' total fertilizer requirement are met through the domestic production in the year 2025. Now let us move to the last quick update for today. The last quick update is about the Bhavasagar. Okay. So the context here is that the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has officially designated Bhavasagar Referral Center as National Repository for Deep Sea Fauna. Okay, and this is the context. In this news, we will be learning about Bhavasagar. So it is located at the Center for Marine Living Living Resources and Ecology in Kochi, Kerala. And this facility or this center works under Ministry of Earth Sciences. You should be also knowing about Samundrayan. That is also under Ministry of Earth Science. Okay, and what are the key responsibilities of Bhavasagar? First of all, it secures the custody to preserve the biological sample and DNA sequences of the deep sea fauna in territorial water as well as the exclusive economic zones of India. Then it holds the type specimen and act as an official custodian for any newly discovered deep sea species in the Indian water. Then it also help in capacity building and foster the expertise in the deep sea taxonomy to align with the UN Decade of Ocean Science. So this decade is declared as UN Decade of Ocean Science 2021 to 2030. So with this, we have completed the News Today discussion for today. And to read further and to solve other smart quizzes, you can visit the Digital Current Affairs website of Vision IAS. And please solve the questions which are visible on your screen. Thank you and all the best for your preparation.